Hello, me lords. My name is Nia, and I want to remake my heated rivalry video because this video was I actually wrote a script for this video, and I was not reading my script in my first video, so I'm like, you know what? I feel like you guys deserve better, and you guys deserve to hear my actual thought out words. So let's get started. Hello, I am Niar, and I like to think very deeply about things, almost a little too much. And here are my thoughts and feelings towards the show Heated Rivalry. This is kind of an analysis on my own, of myself, of like my response, like my emotional response to Heated Rivalry. So I'm just gonna get into it. Clip. So, a few weeks ago, I finally gave in to my friend who was practically begging me, and I watched Heated Rivalry. So, initially, I was like really reluctant to start watching the show, and I was like going over to her house a lot more. So, she was just like, oh my gosh, Nia, please watch Heated Rivalry. And begrudgingly, I allowed her to show me one episode. She was like, I'll just show you one episode, one episode. And I was like, okay, whatever, show me one episode. And of course, she showed me episode 3 because that sneaky little bastard knew that if I saw episode 3, I would fold because she knows me and she knows that I'm a sucker for a meet cute. I'm a sucker for a nice little romantic love story where like the two people just like Scott and Kip on top, bro. Scott and Kip on top. Scott and Kip on top. Ever since showing me episode 3, I was unfortunately hooked to that show. I was hooked to episode 3. I was like, well, I want to know what happens next. And like for a few days, like I didn't watch the rest of it. I was just like, okay, whatever. Like I'll let it simmer, whatever. But it was just on my mind. And I eventually caved and watched the rest of the episodes. And I was quite gagged, to say the least. And, ever since watching Heated Rivalry, I have gone through a whirlwind of emotions, right? My first emotion being annoyance because here's another queer show centering cis white men. But then, after finishing the show in one sitting, because I am just a girl, I left the show kind of like I felt a kind of despair in remembering that I myself am a queer person. So, just to let you in on my life, even though I literally just said it, I'm going to repeat it right now that I'm queer. I have certain identity feelings and I am pansexual, but like at the same time, even though I'm queer, I don't have like a real craving for romance, or like even if I do have a craving for romance, it's on a very surface and like experimental level of like just wanting to experience a healthy romance rather than being like, oh, like I need to be with somebody or like I want to be with someone. It's more just like I wonder how it would be to like experience this. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, I don't really give much care to my queerness. My thought process in terms of my queerness, very embarrassingly and very shamefully, is, well, I don't have time for it. I'm too busy, and participating in the sexuality and dating aspect of my queerness will just make my life harder than need be because, girl, I got bills to pay. Like, I have bills to pay. There's money to be made. I just feel like there's money to be made. I don't have any time to be gay. That's how I feel. and I don't, and that's not to say, like, girl, during Pride Month, I go up, okay? Like, I go up during Pride Month. Like, I go crazy. But, like, at the same time, like there's just this part of me that's like, I don't have time for this 24/7, you know? At the same time, I also just like don't have much desire to be with someone. Like I don't have much desire to be in a romantic relationship. And that also brings me despair because I'm surrounded by nothing but like people in couples and people in relationships, and like my sister, like I have a sister that's married, and people that are like hooking up and exploring and just like really putting themselves out there in terms of dating. And you know, I see nothing but like all this media surrounding like falling in love and being in love and working up to getting married. Like I watch nothing but sitcoms where like eventually the main protagonist finds their one true pairing, and you read books where people are like with someone. Like it's just always somebody's with someone on a romantic level. It's just a lot. Like at this time of writing the show, I had also like I watched Heated Rivalry. I was like binging Heated Rivalry like in between part 1 of Bridgerton and part 2, like waiting for that. And then it's so crazy because I watched Bridgerton season 1 and that like got me all hot and bothered. And then I watched I watched Heated Rivalry, and then I watched part 2 of Bridgerton season 4, and I was just like, girl, like, I'm not gagged. Like,
I'm not gagging.
it's so crazy. But like, I was just like, like, I'm so Heated Rivalry pilled, y'all. Like, it's bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. But Bridgerton season 2 still on top. At the end of the day, Bridgerton season 2 still on top. But anyway, all of this to say that after I finished watching Heated Rivalry, I was sad. Sad because it was over. Sad because I've now grown attached to a new set of fuck ass queer characters. And like sad that I don't crave a romance like that. The stress that came with Shane and Ilya being together, or Scott and Kip being together, just like the stress that comes with romance in general is just like a lot. Like it seems like a lot. And like specifically like seeing that shown in a queer relationship, it was just like, whoa, like this shit is real. And then like I felt guilty because I'm like, that type of stress that comes with being someone never seems worth it to me. Like I don't think I can ever. To continue, sorry, I had to take a pause. But anyway, to continue, I felt like the stress that came with being in a relationship just it never seemed worth it to me. Like it never seemed worth it to me. And I feel bad because it's like, who am I to say that someone's not worth it? But I'm also like, bitch, I'm me, and I get to say who's worth my time and who's not. Period. So it's just kind of weird. And like, I've always known that I'm queer. I've always known that I have some things going on that may deviate from the normalcy of everyday life. Like, ever since really, really sitting with these things about myself, with this knowledge about myself, I felt like I should be dating, or like I should have this craving to be in a relationship. Like, I should just want to put myself out there, right? And let's be clear, like part of the reason I don't want to date is because of deep insecurity and a lack of self-confidence, but also part of the fact that I don't want to date is just the genuine feeling of not wanting to date. Like I just simply do not want to, but I also don't know where the genuine feeling of not wanting to date starts and where my insecurity ends, or like vice versa. Like, but regardless, where I'm at right now in terms of how I feel about dating is very comfortable for me. Hold on, I have to open the door for my cat. She ran away. Um and she came back. Anyway, to continue. um and then I started thinking, well, like, what if I never find love, right? Like, and it's so crazy because like I'm so mad that this is the show that starts making me think about these things. My cat is here. This is the show that starts making me have all these like introspective ideas of like romance and relationship. I'm not even gonna get into why for real. So I start thinking like, well, what if I never find love? And to be honest, while dating is nice or whatever, I can also go the rest of my life without it, and that doesn't mean that I don't want it. Like, it doesn't mean that I don't want to date, but like if I could go the rest of my life without, like, if I went the rest of my life without dating, I don't think that I would be like unfulfilled in life. Do you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that like I don't want romance. Like it doesn't mean that like when I watch my romance shows and watch Rye Lane for the millionth time and read books that involve romance and listen to my playlist that is literally dedicated to my idea of love, that part of my brain is not doing a self insert with my imaginary partner that I've curated to my liking, because that would be a lie. But I think what I am saying is that it's also okay to not crave to be with another person. Like, you can theoretically find something pleasing without wanting the real thing. Like, that's just life. And I think something interesting I'm going to say about the show Heated Rivalry, because I think the show, like, I know in the books it is a little more like one true pairing y, but I think with the show Heated Rivalry, something that I really appreciated is I feel like it was more so a show about love than it was a show about romance. And I will get into that. Actually, I'll explain it now. I feel like Heated Rivalry really, like, it just showed all the different aspects of romance and all the different aspects of love, right? It showed like familial love, familial dynamics, for platonic love, platonic dynamics, and romance and romantic love. In like ancient Greek culture, there's three different types of love where it's like eros, philia, and agape. So the word I was actually looking for was pragma, which is like a more practical love. That's the word that I was looking for. But it's like a more practical love, like practical love where it's like business partnership, eros, which is like more romantic love, and then philia, which is like more platonic love. And it's just like I feel like Heated Rivalry, especially the show. Again, I know in the book it's a like more one true parent because you know you like see more of like the internal thoughts and stuff like that. But I think with Heated Rivalry, the show, they just emphasized relationship and relationship dynamics, which is something that I really appreciated. Like it didn't make it seem like your life is complete once you get with somebody, and I found that really cool. And I really liked that about the show. To continue what I was saying before, to be clear, I I like, just because I don't want to date, that doesn't mean that I will ever be allowed to say that no one loves me in my life. Like I have like that's like objectively untrue. Like I am very loved by a good amount of people in my life and I'm very content with that. Like my family, chosen and relative, make it impossible for me to believe that no one loves me. Like that would literally just be a lie. And if I ever say that no one loves me, my family, chosen and relative, have the right to punch me in the face. What? So, like, sometimes I feel like having a romantic partner would, like, be really inconvenient on my life. Like, honestly, when I was watching Heated Rivalry, like, to a certain degree, it did seem a bit inconvenient to, like, have a romantic partner because it's just like you have all these goals and like aspirations for yourself, and then someone comes in and it's like now you have to kind of like grapple with these feelings on top of still like dealing with your own stuff. Like it seems a bit inconvenient, and like you're taking a bit of risk like when you're getting with somebody in a romantic sense. And I don't know, like it just feels very inconvenient. And like at the same time, I have a cat who gives me all the companionship that I truly need. What? So the question here is how do I contend? Hold on. I'm back. So the question here that I have been asking myself in terms of dating and romance is how hold on, I lost my point. This is so embarrassing. Oh, is how do I contend with the guilt of not wanting romance? More so, how do I push myself to be more okay with the idea that someone can see me and love me? And I don't feel like unpacking that right now because this is a video and a letter to Heated Rivalry. So we're not talking about me right now, okay? Now, Hated Rivalry is not an ideal romance show. The utter and complete emotional turmoil of Holinoff, the 9-year closeted situationship of it all, and Scott and Kip, I think they're called Skip. Like it has me pondering on like what I even desire in a romance, right? Because at first, like my first response to Scott and Kip's relationship, like when I was watching with my friend, I was like, damn, like you know what, I would kind of want something like that, like a space where I can separate my queerness from the rest of my life. But like I know eventually I would probably be like Kip and be like, you know what, like I kind of don't want to be loved in silence. Like I do want to like be able to go out with you and like do something. Like I don't just want to be like a freaking hermit in your house. Like you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to like conform my entire life to just fit into yours. Like I'm not doing that. And Kip deserved better. So, and I'm really glad that he got that. But like I feel like the idea of like being able to separate your queerness from like the rest of your life, like it just feels safer, smoother, easier, you know? And like maybe I want my life to be that way, but like maybe not. Like, you know, it's just a lot to think about. And then with like Ilya and Shane girl, first of all, if I was Shane, I would have cut off Ilya as soon as I saw myself sending that "we didn't even kiss" text in episode 2. Diva, I would have been like, yeah, I can't do this no more. Sorry. Like sorry.
I can't do this. I cannot do this any fucking more.
Like, I'm not in the Heated Rivalry fandom, like, but I know that some of you guys are fantasizing about having a little Holland relationship, and I need y'all to stand up. Stand up.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Stand up. Like, stop that. You do not want that. That is best. Holland is best case scenario. Like, and it's barely best case scenario, Diva, because they got a lot of stuff to work through. All that to say, as I was watching this queer, slow burn, low key brain rot show, I did realize that I do, in fact, want to experience romantic partnership eventually, one day. And like also in tandem to like with that, the weight of being queer dawned on me as I was watching this show. And like how hard it is to exist in a world. I think like how hard it is to exist in a world where I am like a black queer femme. Like that's a tough world, low key. And like, what if I want to start presenting more visibly queer? What if I want to start dressing more androgynously? Like, how would I react to going on a date with someone where our relationship is visibly queer? Like, just so many different questions. And I like being mentally queer. Like, in my head, I'm super gay. And then, like, I like consuming queer media. I like being culturally queer. I like going to queer events. But, like, actually living a queer existence terrifies me, right? Especially with the intersections of being a black femme. And that's what triggered my despair. To be honest, before I started writing this, I didn't actually understand why this show that had a pretty happy resolution brought me despair. But as I continued writing the script, I realized that at the end of the day, Hull and Nav are still a closeted couple out of fear of the world. And they're two white and white passing male hockey players. So what the fuck am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, I don't live a queer life. I have a pretty regular life. I have a very regular job. My life is pretty normal. And I feel like being queer and like just deviating from that normalcy would really just like, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, how will I conclude this video? You may ask. Well, Heated Rivalry. If I never find love, I will be okay. And I genuinely believe that. I don't need to be in love to be reminded that I exist. Also, how much of me not craving love is healthy, and how much of it is me pushing away from something that I may truly want. And when I say love, I don't mean love in general. I think love is a very, very essential part of life. What is life? Love in full effect. Like, hello. It's very important to life, but I'm talking about like romance, obviously. I don't know. Like, media just makes me think about things, guys. It just makes me think about things all the time. And to be honest, I really just wanted to yap about my emotional roller coaster that ensued when I watched this show, just like how I always have emotional roller coasters whenever I watch any show and heavily enjoy it, or any movie and heavily enjoy it. So yeah, divas. I really hope that you liked this video, and yeah, honestly, if one person sees this and can understand where I'm coming from, I think shit is chill. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.